Hello there. Welcome to another episode where we are learning how to use Rhino 3D version 6 for Mac. Hopefully, you've watched at least the first episode that gives you a sense of how to navigate around the Rhino environment. We also had two episodes, one where we laser cut, just focused on the top plane, and then a second one focused on 3D modeling, and we did a duck. So, in this episode, we're going to go back into the 2D world, just looking at the top view and doing more work around 2D, what we would call vector line work. So, let's dive right in. A new resource that we have here. If you go type tinyurl.com/Trello, you can pause it here. All right, this is a short URL that will guide you to a Trello board. Trello, if you're not familiar, is a great project management tool. Initially, for sort of the software development space, but you can really use it for all sorts of planning. So that's what I like to use to lay things out. This is just sort of a skeleton of a Trello board. This entire thing is a board. Then you have lists that are these columns, and a list has many cards. So if you go here, there are some sample files. You could probably find the files that I'm using on the internet, but just so that you are using the same one, you can go here. And we're just going to focus on these 5 image files. I have some other things that we might use in other episode. So open up a new Rhino file. And I think in previous times, I tried this keyboard shortcut. You should try it on yours. Command Alt and then the letter M. Sometimes that would minimize my window, but if it works right, it toggles between 1 versus 4. So that's a handy shortcut to have. We are just going to be working in the top view. And when we're working in the top view, you can use two-finger, move your fingers around the trackpad, and it'll pan. And then, of course, you can pinch and zoom to zoom in and out. Let's take a look. We will find the files and we are going to drag them in. Right. There you go. You see the little green plus? It says you put it as a picture. That's good. And first corner of picture, take a look at the left dialog box. We're going to click once and then click again. So we'll just do one at a time. Open up your side toolbar, your right one, and click this gear right here. And make sure you have the materials menu enabled. That's this button right here. And this will show the properties of the image you just put in. It puts in the file name. You can give it some transparency, which is really nice. So you have that. And as we talked about in previous episodes, it's good to change the defaults as you need. So I'm going to label my default layer as underlay, the thing that we're tracing over. And then we're going to try to put our artwork on a separate layer for each. So this one is circles. And remember that whatever radio button you have, that's the active layer. You can move things afterwards, but if you're able to get it right the first time, it just saves you headache later. So our image here is on the underlay layer. And if we switch to another layer, we can hide and show. We can also lock it so we don't inadvertently click on it. And this is useful. Once you've set the dimension right, you might as well just lock it so that you can focus on your artwork. Now, just for purposes of tracing, sometimes it's easier to pick contrasting colors. So this logo obviously is red, so we can pick sort of an opposite color, whatever color you fancy here. If you are to laser cut the work, of course, you're going to need to go the proper colors, but that's covered in another episode. So now we're on circles. We can easily, let's say, type the circle command, and let's just make a quick circle. You'll see this sort of medium darkish blue. That is because that's that layer. And then we could toggle the layers so we can hide the artwork we just showed. Now, in this episode, we're not really worried too much about what we're going to finally create in terms of dimensions. So I think I'm going to sort of put that off to the side to another episode where we focus on how do we get it to the right size that we want. Right now, we're just focused on the tools. So with that being said, I'm going to hide away the right toolbar, and we can do circle. And I think it's easier to find 3 points on the circumference of the circle rather than trying to guess the center, make your diameter, and then shift it around. So 3-point circle is really nice. There's actually a geometric theorem that proves why 3 points determine a circle. So pick any 3 points. And there you have your first circle. Now, we are going to assume whenever you do these tracing things, you have to make assumptions. So we're going to assume that these are 3 concentric circles. So when we make another circle, this time we don't need to do 3-point, but we want to share the center. So if you don't have the proper O snap-on, which is this bottom left here, you can press center. And now it says, hey, do you want to pick the center of the circle? Yes. So click once. And then now, to your best guess. All right, there we go. Boom. And we're going to do the same command. So you can press spacebar or enter. Click and click. There you go. Congratulations. You have traced your first logo. And we can go back to the underlay, hide it, or rather opposite here. And you're good to go. So let's keep going. We're going to go to our next logo. 3 diamonds. Put it as a picture. We can place it wherever. Again, we don't worry about dimensions right now. So we can move this around. And you see right now it's on the circles layer. So this is just good practice. Make sure your objects are on the layer that you want. And the earlier you can do this, the better, so that you don't have to fix things afterwards. So this right here, project properties or object properties. And we're going to put that to the underlay. Okay, so we have this right here. You can verify that. So you can make a new layer. Let's say 3 diamonds, whatever you want to call it. And sure, we'll keep with purple. Now this one, we are going to use the polyline. And we can type that, polyline. We can do our best to find the center. Click, click. If you want to hide the Smart Track help, you can press the Alt key, and that'll hide any help away. And you want to make sure you end to that point. So we can hide the underlay, and you see what you've made. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. Our assumption are these 3 diamonds are all the same. So one way you could do it is you select the curve. And right now we can lock that underlay so we don't have any risk, quote unquote, of selecting the bottom. We can copy, paste, move it over, and we can rotate as needed. Okay, so you could do that. You could also just continue tracing. That's pretty good practice to do. So we can just do this. All right, so on and so forth. If you really want to be, I guess, more intentional about it, you could do this thing called ArrayPolar. This is sort of like a rotational pattern. So select objects to array, you click that. What is our center of rotation? You click that. We want 3 items in total. And now we can set the radius. Okay, so click. And then there you go. Hide your underlay, and you're ready to go. You could also, if you want, let me do real quickly. Let's say you have your diamond. All right, this is a very crude diamond here. Oops, try that again. And if you want to mirror it about a center line, so right now this is just sort of approximate. What we can do is, instead of mirror, we call it symmetry. Select your curves. Turn this off for now. And then the start of the symmetry plane. So that's basically the mirror line. All right, and there you go. So number of options to do that. Let's keep going. What is our next logo that we have? All right, 3 triangles. Put it as a picture. Again, don't really care the size. Now remember, I just made the mistake. I didn't put it on the underlay. So just train yourself. Try to put things where they should be. And that'll help you out later as you get to more specifics. I'm going to put that on the underlay. Check. You can hide that. And then this one, let's call triangles. We're going to make that the active layer. Now this time, let's do a mirror line. Why not? Let's do a mirror line. So we can do line, just for a 2-point line. Your best guess. We can hold the shift key if we want. Hopefully your image isn't rotated at all. And then we can do our polyline. And we can go up. We can actually turn on Smart Track. It should trace that up. There you go. Your best guess. If you need to zoom in, zoom out, you can. and like that. Okay, and then enter. And one more time, polyline. You can use the smart track there. Like that. If you need to hold the Alt key to turn off the help, you can. This is going to be straight across, so you can hold Shift to make sure. Boom. And then actually we don't need that extra piece. So, okay. So now we can do what we did before, symmetry. We're going to have to do the curves one at a time. So click that, and then start, end, like that. And then one more time. This is what you want to mirror. Click the start of the symmetry to the end. And then you can hide the underlay. You're ready to go. Let's say you wanted to delete things. Okay, we could also delete like that. And I think this is a good pause. Maybe we're going to split it into two parts. Our first part of logo tracing, we'll get into two more logos and maybe do some more modification. And I think I'll throw in dimensions for that next episode. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.